The Tiger Rising. Chapter 16. Rob sat out on the curb in front of the motel room and waited for Sistine to come back from using the phone. He had her green dress wrapped up in a grocery bag. He had tried to fold the dress up neatly, but folding a dress turned out to be an impossible task and he finally gave up. Now he held the bag out and away from him so that the grease from the medicine on his leg would not stain it. He was relieved when Sistine finally walked towards him out of the darkness. "Hey," he said. "Hi." She sat down on the steps next to him. "How come you don't have a phone?" Rob shrugged. "Aren't not nobody to call, I guess." "My mother's coming to get me," Sistine said. Rob nodded. Here's your dress." He handed her the bag. Sistine took it and then tilted her head to look
up at the sky. Rob looked up too. The clouds had shifted, and there were clear patches where the stars shone through. I can see the Big Dipper," Sistine said. "I like looking up at things. So do my mom and dad. That's how they meet. That's how they met." They were both looking up at the ceiling in the Sistine Chapel. They weren't watching where they were going, and they bumped into each other. "That's why I'm named Sistine." "I like your name," said Rob shyly. I've seen the Sistine ceiling too," she said. "They took me last year before Bridget when they were still in love." Does it look like the pictures?" Rob asked. "Better," said Sistine. "It's like, I don't know. It's like looking at fireworks, kind of." "Oh," said Rob. "Maybe we could go to Italy sometime, and I could show you." "That would be all right," said Rob. He smiled into the darkness. "The tiger can't look up at the stars," said Sistine, her voice getting hard. "He's got that piece of wood over his head. He can't look up at no all. We've got to let him go." Rob was silent. He was hoping that he didn't answer her. She might go back to talking about the Sistine ceiling. "How did your mother die?" she asked suddenly. Rob sighed. He knew there was no point in trying not to answer. "Cancer," he said. "What was her name?" "I ain't supposed to talk about her," said Rob, closing his eyes to the stars and concentrating instead on his suitcase, working to keep it closed. "But why not?" asked Sistine. "Because my dad says it don't do no good to talk back. That's why we moved here from Jacksonville, because everybody always wanted to talk about her. We moved down here to get on with things." There was the crunch of gravel. Rob opened his eyes in time to see the headlights of a car sweep over them. "That's my mother," said Sistine. She stood up. "Quick," she said. "Tell me your mother's name." Rob shook his head. "Say it," she demanded. "Caroline," Rob said softly, cracking his suitcase open and letting the words slip out. Sistine gave him another businesslike nod of her head. "Okay," she said. "I'll come back tomorrow, and we'll make our plans for letting the tiger go." "Sissy," called a voice. "Baby, what in the world are you doing out there?" Sistine's mom got out of the car and came walking towards them. She had high heels and wobbled, walking in the gravel parking lot of the Kentucky store. Her hair was a lighter shade of yellow than Sistine's and piled up high when she turned her head. Rob recognized Sistine's profile, different, tighter. Good Lord, said Mrs. Bailey to Sistine. What have you got on? Clothes, said Sistine. Sissy, you look like a hobo. Get in the car. She tapped her high heels on the foot on the gravel. Sistine didn't move. She stood beside Rob. Well, said her mother, when Sistine didn't move. You must be Rob. What's your last name, Rob? Horton, said Rob. Horton, said Miss Bailey. Horton, are you related to Selden Horton, the congressman? No, ma'am, said Rob. I don't think so.
Mrs. Bailey's eyes flicked away from him and back to Sistine. Baby, said Mrs. Bailey, please let him get in car. When Sistine still did not move, Mrs. Bailey sighed and looked back